Hello, howdy, and welcome back to Garden Updates. I'm Kathryn, the Aerogarden Homesteader. So, it's a little hard to tell, and I don't know if you can see this very well, but I think I did get a little bit of transplant shock for these peppers. So there is a fine line between going too far and not going far enough with the recovery. So, it's all droopy, and the leaves are kind of looking poorly. This one actually doesn't look too bad. It's got a few, like, droopy leaves, but yeah, it's just... Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The seedlings are all inside right now because the sprinkler system is running, finally. And it's an overcast and dreary day, so there's really not much point in putting them out if they're going to get more light inside. They're all still looking rather small. My pumpkin pie pumpkins are doing good. Peppers are still small. I've been feeding them. So I'll show you how I've been mixing up the formula for that, or the fertilizer for that, but... yeah, it's just not going to be a very great garden this year. I've got a few that are kind of popping up and looking bigger, but, you know, I always thought zucchini grew like weeds, and I got one. That's pretty bad. Okay, well, those are all the plants down here, so I'll show you the rest of them and we'll see how they're doing. I have decided to start feeding my seedlings on a more regular basis, so today I'm going to mix up a little food. I'm going to take you along for a feeding. This will just be part of the plant update because this is what I'm doing to try to maintain the plants. Try to get them a little bit bigger. So I have it's an approximately 4-gallon bucket. It's got about 3 gallons of water in it, and I'm going to mix up the recipe for 2 gallons of food. So that's going to be about 5 grams of component A and B, and 3 grams of the Epsom salt. And the reason why I'm doing that is because these are seedlings. I don't want to give them too much and burn them. They are delicate still. But this is actually what is recommended too. I will link the website below where I got this information from, so I'm not just pulling this out of my butt. You know this actually exists somewhere. So I will put this in. You got to mix each thing up one component at a time. So I just have I hate to be using inappropriate utensils, but I wanted something metal. I didn't want a wooden spoon because I don't want to contaminate my cooking spoons. So I just have a metal chopstick here that I'm using to stir this up with. I could use like a metal slotted spoon or something, but I do want to make sure that I dissolve each component before moving on to the next component. So you must add Master Blend Part A first, followed by the Epsom salt. Make sure everything is dissolved, and then add the calcium nitrate. If you do it in the wrong order, it can cause binding up of the nutrients. So now normally it's 2 parts of A and B and 1 part of the Epsom salt, but I can't do half grams, so I had to kind of just round everything up. So that's the Epsom salt. I will get that all stirred up and dissolved, and then I will move on to the calcium nitrate. And then at that point I can go and bottom water my seedlings. I can also, the ones that are like, there's a couple that are like super dry on top, and I don't know why. I will top water those just to make sure I want to make sure they're getting water. Yeah. That looks pretty well dissolved. Oops. And finally calcium nitrate. And this will be 5 grams as well. Probably need a more accurate scale for measuring smaller volumes or smaller amounts, but it'll work. Get that dissolved and then watered. You can't even see in the pot. There we go. So I have a cup in here to help me dispense the liquid, but you just have to stir it up until it dissolves. Okay, well, I'm sure you've seen enough. It is a cold one today and overcast. I think we are expecting a little bit more cold weather before sort of the warm weather kicks in. So hopefully I can get the plants in the ground soon, although I'm not sure what I have that can go in the ground because everything is small. I'll show you the rest of the seedlings, but they're just still so small. At least some of the cold weather stuff is doing well. We finally have our outside water on, so we literally just got it on yesterday. So we've been trying to do maintenance on the system and get it, running properly. But at least some things in the garden are getting water. The problem though is we accidentally buried a sprinkler head. So I gotta dig that out and put it up on a riser, especially since we've got it right beside this raised bed, so it needs to be lifted up a little. I'll try to bring you along for that. It's not hard to do, it's just you gotta dig it out, unfortunately. So I don't have anything outside today except what's already kind of been outside, the cold weather stuff, because the sprinkler system's on now and I don't know how wet everything will get. Apparently this stuff didn't get wet at all. The ground looks really dry here. So I just need to go through and try to figure out what is spraying where, what needs to be cleaned. So sprinklers have a screen in them that need to be cleaned. In case you're wondering, pears. These are pears. So what they do is they get these initial leaves that come out and then they open up and all of the flowers are clustered in there. So pear is part of the palm family, so apples do the same thing. These are close. We've got our apricots in bloom. These are more pears. But yeah, the fruit trees are just starting to do their thing. So this is apple. This is a gala. So you can just see it's a little bit behind the pear. It does have some flower buds in there. So this one hopefully will be a really good year for galas. And then cherry. I don't know if this one's going to have any flowers on it. I don't see them yet, but they might come out of these clusters. So I do think that the flower clusters open first. So if you look over here, these ones haven't really opened yet. I think these are just buds for branches. Versus over here, these ones are opening more. They might actually be flower buds. But this is kind of the state of the outdoor stuff. I've got some things growing, but everything's just kind of been struggling because of the water issue, which apparently has been on for a month, except they turned our valve off. Lovely. I hate the system here. But anyways, this is the outside stuff. So this one is the first one I planted, and it is doing fine. So yes, a fine line between too long for recovery and not long enough for recovery. And then basil is looking really good. So they're all pretty tall and popping up, and I got one Thai basil mixed in, but that's okay. It's all good. Thai basil tastes, it's got a bit of an anise flavor to it, so if you're curious, that's what it kind of tastes like. The dill is growing like a weed, so is pretty much everything in these Aerogardens. Everything is doing really well. The Thai basil is just taking over, of course, sort of pushing out the mint. Parsley's doing great. So everything's been fed. I kept them kind of at the same feed level I did last time, so just a full strength feed for these ones here, and then just 16 ml for the farm because it doesn't have quite as many plants in it. So seem like they're doing really well. I can't wait to get these out in the garden. Hopefully in about a week. It looks like the weather's going to be really improving a lot. So I don't want them getting too cold overnight because we still have been getting cold nights. But hopefully in a week that'll all change. The chickens are definitely getting bigger every day. They're definitely developing a lot more feathers. And their tails, oh my gosh, they're so cute. But yeah, no, it's just, we've managed to keep them alive this long, so hopefully we can keep them alive until they go outside in their coop, which we still have to build. But yeah, it hasn't been too hard yet, but who knows. This is our first go at it, so we're just kind of learning as we go. This is our big girl here. We got a little one over there. I think we're going to call it Nugget. These are the last of the seedlings. I will probably be getting the asparagus in the ground first because I got a good spot for them, but everything else is just so small that it's probably going to have to wait. Like, honestly, I don't know when I'll be able to get some of these in the ground. The good news is that our irrigation system is up and running, The bad news is it needs maintenance, like, you know, it does every year. So I hope you found this video useful. I hope this has been helping you with your garden to see that, you know what, sometimes things are just small and crappy, sometimes they don't grow well, sometimes they grow great. But I hope you found this helpful for your garden. I hope you are starting a garden, even if it's just in a pot. I will have some videos linked at the end that maybe you might enjoy watching. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.